Hey there, everybody. Jared Polin here, Fronos Photo. I'm going to let you in on a little snippet of the D3000 super secret project and just, I can't say any more. I want to say more, but I just can't. So, I'm just going to go into a little bit about this segment, and we'll just talk about shutter speeds and backlighting. When you're shooting things, what a backlight means is the light's coming in from behind. Ooh, I can see now because you're watching me. It's coming in from behind your subject, and basically your exposure is being metered by the light in the back, which is making your subject dark, which is in the front. So this is how we are going to get around that. Pictures of my cat here, but you can also see Kitty is sleeping over there. That's Mr. Meowgie, because he meows so much, he's Mr. Meowgie. So here we have the picture of the kitty taken, as you can see in, they call it normal mode, but I think that was program mode, and just seeing what would happen when I take the picture. So it says 1/200th of a second at f7.1. I set the ISO to 200 using the 35mm 1.8, and you can see that the subject, the kitty, is a little dark because it's basically metering for the sun and what's outside. So what I did next is I switched over to spot metering. And what spot metering is allowing me to do is to meter right whatever's in the center of the picture when I am focusing. It's going to meter for there. So if it's a darker area in one image, because it's backlit, it's now going to meter just for what it sees inside a little, I believe it's an 8mm circle, or whatever size it is, but it's 8. I picked the 8 one, right in the middle, because that's where you want to meter when something's being backlit. And now you can see that the exposure has changed. It's 1/160th of a second at f6.3, and now you can see that the subject looks better. Now we're shooting raw, so I'm going to explain something about that a little later. But I want to get everybody into the mindset of this is what the camera in auto or program or aperture priority is telling me to do. What happens if I switch it to manual? So you can see for the next image, I switched to manual. I went down to f4 instead of what the camera was telling me in the auto mode, which was program. It's 6.3 or 7.1. And now your metering mode doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you're on spot metering or on 3D matrix metering or whatever metering you may be on, because you switch to manual and you're setting your own shutter speed and aperture. So now we're at 1/400th of a second at f4. Same thing, 35mm lens. We're going to stick with that the whole time. So what's going to happen now? It looks fine, and these are unedited raw files, no tweaks whatsoever. So now we're going to go to the next image, which is 1/500th of a second. So now we're seeing what's happening with the shutter speed. After that 1/640th of a second, you can see how when we're changing the shutter speed that the image is getting darker here because it's a quicker shutter speed. It's not letting in as much light. You can see that outside is metered almost fine, but you can see that we are losing the kitty here, 1/1250th of a second, and so on, and 2000th. And 2500th of a second. So outside looks awesome. These are the things that are happening if it's backlit. You can see how cool outside looks, or where the cat is in the sun. You can see that his fur is nicely exposed if that's what you were going for, but he's awfully dark. So let's go back to the first one, which was shot at 1/400th of a second. Okay, the cat's brighter, this is untweaked, and things like that, and it looks good. But you're getting the feel for how when you just change the shutter speed, something else is happening. So shutter speed, ISO, and your aperture are all tied together, and we're learning how one thing affects the other. Now I want to show you something. If you weren't shooting raw, you wouldn't be able to bring this image back. We can bring this image back. It's about 2 stops off. But look, that's 2 1/4 stops, maybe even a little more, and we're bringing it back. So we were able to save the image even though we made a mistake. we could save the image and still get something usable over 2.5 stops off. So that is another important thing about RAW. So I hope that this gives you a little bit of insight in how your shutter speeds affect the final image, and also get to see how the RAW file allows you to bring it back. So that's a little bit of a look inside the D3000 super duper secret project. Catch you later.